It's time for the RMAC Radio Show, featuring all the latest information from around the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference.
There's nothing I like better than a nice, ice-cold Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference.
The RMAC is a proud member of NCAA Division II. Now, here's your host, Eric Danner.
You're like the Nick Saban of the RMAC.
Welcome to the RMAC Radio Show, week number 24 of this year. My name is Eric Danner. I had another big show planned for you today. We have men's basketball to talk a little bit about here in segment number one. Then we're going to have Brett Hunter, the interim head wrestling coach at Chadron State, on in this segment as Chadron gets ready to host the RMAC Wrestling Championships. Segment number two, we're going to have Seth Mischke, the head indoor track and field coach at Black Hills State University, as they host the Indoor Track and Field Championships this upcoming weekend. And we're also going to talk women's basketball in segment two. And then in segment three, we'll wrap things up. We got some sound bites from Steve Schaefer from Grand Canyon University, as well as Michael and Jacqueline Branning. The Lopes swam away with the RMAC Championships this past week in Colorado Mesa, so we'll hear from those folks as well. As we mentioned, we start off with men's basketball. Metro State continuing to lead the conference. They are now 18-0, just played one game this past weekend against Regis, had no trouble there. Fort Lewis now moves into second place in the conference at 14-4. Colorado Mesa 14-5. They split on that trip down to New Mexico, which tends to trip a lot of people up this year. Perhaps the biggest surprise, Adams State going 0-2 this weekend against UCCS and CSU Pueblo. So they drop now to fourth place in the conference at 13-5. With 4 games left to go, those appear to be the 4 teams that would host first-round games in the RMAC shootout. CSU Pueblo now moves up to number 5 at 10-8. Mines is in 6th. Tied with New Mexico Highlands at 10-9, Western New Mexico at 9-10. Those would be your 8 teams in the RMAC shootout if it started today. Still have 2 weekends left to go, so we'll have to see how things shake out. Western State still in contention at 8-11, and Colorado Christian at 7-12. Regis still has a heartbeat, 6-12. So those are the teams in contention in men's basketball for the RMAC shootout. Our RMAC players of the week this week: Colton Bergen from Colorado Mesa, after averaging 23.5 points, 7 rebounds, 3.5 assists, shot .679 from the field for Colorado Mesa, is our RMAC Baden Offensive Player of the Week. Our RMAC Defensive Player of the Week goes to Trevor Wages, averaged half a steal, 3.5 blocks, and 10 defensive rebounds per game as Colorado Mines went 2-0 at Black Hills and Chadron in that overtime victory against the Eagles. Trevor Wages had 7 block shots, so he is our RMAC Baden Defensive Player of the Week. And for more on what happened this past weekend, let's head over to Haley Lewis at the RMAC Sports Desk with our RMAC Recap.
Thanks, Eric. Number 1 ranked Metro State continued to dominate this weekend. Demetrius Miller had 12 of his 18 points in the second half to lead the Roadrunners to an 83-62 win over Regis. Metro now has a perfect record of 22-0. Fort Lewis swept at home this weekend to move up to second in the conference. The Skyhawks beat CSU Pueblo 80-72. Alex Herrera scored 16 points with 9 rebounds. The next night, Herrera stayed hot against UCCS with 21 points and 13 boards. Marcus Ayala led FLC with 23 points. Final score 83-66. New Mexico Highlands upset Colorado Mesa 74-70. Stargell Love led the Cowboys with 24 points. The next night, the Mavs came with vengeance as they traveled to Western New Mexico. Colton Bergen had one of his best games of the season, scoring 30 points and pulling down 10 rebounds. The Mavs won 78-62. Adams State defended its home court against UCCS 78-64. Norvell Arnold and John Jackson combined for 46 points. The next night, the Grizzlies fell short to CSU Pueblo 67-65. With 3 seconds left on the clock, Arden Dennis hit a jump shot to win the game. The T-Wolves' Matt Rosenbaum led the squad with 21 points. Colorado Mines swept to Black Hills State and Chadron. In Spearfish, the Ore Diggers won 69-56. Trevor Wages collected 14 points and 15 boards. The following night, Mines survived a scare, beating Chadron State in overtime 75-70. Brian Muller and Luke Meisch totaled 42 points. New Mexico Highlands beat Western State 91-83. Lavelle McDade and Stuart Sullivan teamed up for a combined 45 points. Western New Mexico also took down Western State 88-74. The Mustangs' Chad Carter had 24 points and 9 rebounds. Chadron State defeated Colorado Christian 75-71. Zach Bargan led the Eagles with 20 points. CCU bounced back the next night to beat Black Hills State 81-73. Avery Redmond and Michael Brown owned the court with over 25 points apiece. I'm Haley Lewis, and that's the RMAC Recap.
Thank you, Haley. As we mentioned, we're going to talk RMAC Wrestling as the RMAC Wrestling Championships are this weekend in Chadron, Nebraska. It's also the NCAA Super Region 4 Championships. And joining us now on the RMAC Hotline, the head coach at Chadron State. His name is Brett Hunter. Coach Hunter, how's it going today?
Hey, it's going good. Just getting ready for that regional tournament.
Coach, had a chance to talk with you several times over the years, and people who are avid listeners of the RMAC Radio Show or maybe watch the RMAC Showcase TV show might know you as Brett Hunter, the wrestler, two-time national champion. Took over the team this year, I believe, still have the interim title as we head into the championships here. Kind of tell us your road to become the coach there at Chadron State.
I was a graduate assistant here at Chadron State and was coaching under a long-time wrestling coach Scott Ritson, and I guess his plan for me was for me to take over the job. And he knew his time was getting to the end, and I guess that he retired this summer, and it just worked out. I was still here, and I finished up my master's degree and took to the interim position.
Talking with Brett Hunter at Chadron State College, and what a task to take over in your first year. You guys are hosting the RMAC Championships, NCAA Regionals, and this rotates around for people who follow the RMAC. So with 9, 10, 11 teams, depending on what the year is, about once every 9 or 10 years, a school gets to host the RMAC Wrestling Championships. First time in a while it's been in Chadron. If people are coming out to the meet this weekend, what can they expect, Brett?
They can expect some good quality wrestling. We got 12 teams coming in this year because we added Simon Fraser out of Canada. It's just going to be a tough weekend for all teams just to get guys qualified, and it's just going to be a good weekend of wrestling, and hopefully everything goes smooth.
Yeah, just so people are familiar with the format here, this is the first year in quite some time we're going to do what they call double scoring. So we're going to crown the RMAC champion is the best school within all the RMAC schools. There's also 3 other schools competing that are not currently in the RMAC, and that would be, as you mentioned, Simon Fraser out of Canada, Fort Hays State, Nebraska Kearney, both members of the MIAA right now, longtime members of the RMAC in wrestling, but they're no longer an RMAC member, so kind of might be a little confusing for fans who are used to seeing Fort Hays and Kearney as members of the RMAC, even though they aren't this year. And, of course, Nebraska Kearney, the defending national champion, ranked number 7 in the country right now. Adams State ranked number 11. See, Colorado Mesa is ranked 14. Grand Canyon number 19. As far as winning an RMAC championship, Brett, what does it take for a team to do that? Obviously, we've seen Nebraska Kearney pretty much dominate the last 10, 12 years in the RMAC, as well as winning the national title last year. But what does it take? What kind of a weekend are you going to have to compete for that RMAC championship?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you got to have everybody on the same page, healthy, kind of firing all cylinders. The biggest thing is just having a consistent weekend, winning the matches you need to win, and maybe an upset here and there. But overall, you just got to be consistent throughout the whole wrestling tournament, and hopefully squeeze out the regional RMAC championships.
So as far as top-ranked wrestlers, if people are going to come out to Chadron State to watch the RMAC Wrestling Championships, NCAA Super Region 4, Jesse Hillhouse ranked number 1 at 125. Rafian Stotts, wrestling for Nebraska Kearney, is ranked number 1 at 149. He's a defending national champion. Bobby Ward is in that weight class from Grand Canyon. And Kyle McCrite, defending national champion at 125. That figures to be a pretty loaded weight class in these RMAC championships. As far as fans go, Brett, some other weight classes, if people are to come out, have you kind of circled any that should be a pretty good bracket?
Oh yeah, I think about every bracket is going to be just tough, especially 184. In my opinion, I think there's nine or 10 guys that could actually win the regional tournament. It's just that loaded. Everybody's beating on everybody. But 25. I mean, you got a defending national champion out of McWright, and then you got number 1 ranked Jesse Hillhouse, and you got the Huff kid from Adams State. 74. You got the Copeland kid out of Western State, and then the Kearney kid Patrick Martinez, and they've never met, and so that should be a great match. And heavyweight, you got the Grand Canyon, the Fortune kid, and the Simon Fraser kid, and I just believe that every weight is going to be a battle and get some good wrestling.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Again, this will be February 22nd, 23rd, this Friday and Saturday. The finals will be Saturday evening, and a lot of wrestling going on both Friday and Saturday. And Brett, if people are coming out, what do they need to do to get tickets? And is it a session pass? Sorry about that.
I mean, basically, you're right. Basically, you just show up, buy your tickets when you get here, and you can buy all sessions pass for like $25, or you can do individually session passes. And so basically, you just show up and buy your tickets and watch some great wrestling.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And Brett, as far as Chadron State wrestlers, you're kind of wearing a couple of hats this weekend as you're putting on this meet and doing a great job there, and getting all these teams in. But you also have to put on your head coach hat as well. As far as wrestlers from Chadron State, who can we look for to possibly, break into a championship round or make it deep into this tournament?
We got about 5 guys right on the bubble, and so we just got to have them wrestle a great tournament. Obviously, Jordan Davis, he's a 2-time national qualifier. We're hoping he wrestles a good tournament and qualifies. Perry McAfee has been having a good year. Chris Leak and our heavyweight Mike Kittle is having a good year too. So we'd be happy with 4 or 5 guys making the national tournament.
Well, hey, Brett, want to thank you for taking some time out today. We know it's going to be a great event. I get a chance to go up there and check it out, and good luck to you this week.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right, that is Brett Hunter, the interim head wrestling coach at Chadron State, 2-time national champion while he was a wrestler there. As he mentioned, Scott Ritson was the head coach that he took over for. Scott's still there helping out running the tournament this year. And we'll have the championship round live on America One. I believe they're going to also stream some of that on America One. And since that's an NCAA event, we're not allowed to charge for it. Usually it's pay-per-view on America One, but when we do these NCAA events, they are a free view. So if you can't make it up to Chadron, that's a good way to keep track of things as well. When we come back, we're going to talk about the RMAC Indoor Track and Field Championships that'll be happening just up the street there from Chadron in Spearfish, South Dakota. You're listening to the RMAC Radio Show.